Okie dokie. I'm gonna start this video off. Well, we're taking a little time, man, basically to review our own material, other material, work on some other projects, and kind of get things in order here. And we're going over things. It further brings to my attention the need to do a further define terms and do an explanation video on basically as a main concept key versus mode versus scale versus chord, and we could even take it a step further and bring it right down to individual notes. Well, with this one, we're going to go ahead and in the last one, we went ahead and did scales, focusing in on the minor scale. With this one, we're going to go ahead and do modes, which means we're going to go ahead and get into actual key formulas. Now, we'll just start with major. In fact, let's break these all off of A. Off of key of A, and we'll start with A major. Got a root note, the A, whole step to the B, whole step to the C sharp, half step to the D, whole step to the E, whole step to the F sharp, whole step to the G sharp, and half step to the A. With every key formula, the only exceptions are going to be the 6-note whole stepper and the 8-note 1/1/2 stepper. Everything else is going to work off of a 7-note formula. This includes chromatics. Whenever we're doing our chromatics, whenever we're not altering with the normal 7-note formula, but adding extra notes in, whether it be an 8th note, a 9th note, a 10th note, I don't care if you're using all 12 notes. There's still going to be a main 7-note key that's controlling the melody of the song. And it's not necessarily going to be major, but there's going to be some dominant key. And if we can figure out what that, like even Flight of the Bumblebee has a dominant key, okay? If we can figure out what that dominant key is, we can divide into our 7 positions, our 7 modes. And from there, it's just a matter of adding in the notes that are being added in. Whether it just be a normal 7-note key and we don't have to add anything, or whether it be to where we do have chromatic additions and we have to account for 8th notes and or a 9th note, or even, like I'm saying, a 10th, 11th, or a 12th note. You can use all of them, but even like a 10th or 11th note being in there, I mean, even if we're using all the notes but 2 of them, there's still a dominant key, and you're gonna find that alternate key that's being applied, whatever that may be, whether it be a major key or whether it be something else. A great example of it is in Stray, to where we're dominating with the C key, but our melody is falling off as far as an A key at times. Now that doesn't mean it's always in an A key. That means, we're starting on like A minor, we're moving to the key of C. We're taking it from the key of C to maybe the key of G or something like that. Moving G to D, D to true A back to C, or A back to G and then back to C. And whatever it was. That video's out there, it's been explained. But it just makes for interesting theory. And again, you're just going to see that in the sharps and flats showing up. You're going to notice that it's only in the melody position. That C key is dominating your low notes, but there are things going on in that high end that are pretty much making for alts. With that one, it's not a matter of doing chromatics. It's not a matter of having a bunch of notes chromatic. That would be, a D through F chromatic followed by a G through B flat chromatic. It's just a bunch of notes that connect. And again, there's even 7-note key formulas like that in the last video. How I was talking about how diminished is usually paired with minor. That way you're avoiding that chromatic showing up. Whenever you just use diminished, you're gonna get the, basically 4 through flat 5 note showing up as 3 through flat 5 note showing up as a chromatic. So like for D diminished, if we're not going to a minor, just going to a normal third note, we've got that chromatic showing up right there, and the rest of the notes would simply just be finishing out the key of D. And again, key formula for that just standard diminished key would be starting on D, a whole step to E, a whole step to F sharp, a half step to our G, which is our 4 note. But then we're going to go to that flat 5 note, which is just a half step to that A flat. Then we have a step and a half jump to get us to a B note, a whole step jump to get us to a C sharp note, and finally a half a step jump to get us right on back to D, making for our diminished scale. Again, this is why we put the minor in it. This is why we flat that F sharp note to an F note, so we get that. Doesn't have the chromatic in it. I almost think the major one sounds better, but whenever you're applying the chords to it and everything, I mean, it's just playing around with you know how it works. Playing chords sound different than playing scales. Strumming chords sound different than finger picking chords. So you gotta. I stay away from diminished a lot because I don't like the sounds I come up with a lot of the times. I mean, there's a few of them, especially if I'm not in a diminished key but using a diminished chord for something particular. That's always fun. But the diminished keys are they're a little advanced. They're a little hard to work with, and I'm going to talk, because we are going to do Shambhala early, and that is a form. That's the 8 note. That's the 1/1/2 stepper. That's all 8 notes. we never run into a chromatic. And again, even with that one, where no matter where you want to look at it from, I prefer to see it from D. That's what I'm building it off of. But whenever it comes to Shambhala, but I prefer to see it from the D. But it's basically a minor, and then you just throw away the 5 and replace it with a flat 5 and a sharp 5, which creates your 8 positions, but no chromatics. The other extreme one would be the whole stepper. I got one example for whole stepper, and it's and now we're out of it. But and that's just taking a whole stepper. Let's see. I'm even borrowing that. I swear I heard that somewhere. It's the only place I've ever heard the whole stepper. And it's like Metroid only. But yeah, I'm just taking a whole stepper and then moving it half a step up, doing the same thing, moving it half a step back, doing the same thing, moving it half a step up, and then breaking out of it into something else that has a B, D sharp, or E flat, F, and F sharp note in it. We'll get to that. Maybe part of something. We'll get to that when we get to it. Alright, and yeah, the whole stepper is just 6 whole steps. It doesn't really sound good. It's hard to make chords out of. I mean, you're running into nothing but tritones, which is 3 whole steps. It's where the diminished shows up. So, and with the whole stepper, I think you have 3 of them, and if you want to count the opposites as well, you go ahead, double that number, and 6 of them total. With the 1/1/2 stepper, I'm gonna misspeak in a video coming up, because also this thing repeats every 3 steps. I mean, we can call this D minor, throw away the 5, flat 5, sharp 5. We can also call that F, and it's the same thing. It's minor, throw away the 5, add a flat 5 and a sharp 5. We can also do it from our A flat positioning, and we can do it from our B positioning. All the same. And for every one of these, you're going to encounter 2 tritones. So for every positioning, you got the, again, what a tritone is 3 steps. So start with the D note. You got that A flat right there. E note. You got that B flat right there. F note. You got that B note right there. And one more, but we're moving our positioning now. With the G note, yep. You got that C sharp right now. Now back to the A flat note and the D note. So that's 4 of them. In the video I said 2, but I got that wrong. I'm thinking positioning. 2 per little 3 bar positioning. Think about this on a piano, it doesn't work as well. Think about it on a guitar. So Yeah, but every three, and it would still work like that on a piano too, though. But again, see, if you see the piano, you don't have a whole thing here. You got three notes, every three notes, and it's like that every three notes. But all right, really, you're going to have four tritones right there, and then if we want to double it up and include the opposite with like the A flat and the D, the B flat and the E, the B. Oh, I'm sorry. The yep, B and the F. Yeah, there we go. C sharp and G, and finally back to D and G sharp or A flat. So really, it's an 8 tritone thing. So I think this probably plays into why the whole stepper and half stepper are not used much. I personally, though, like whenever it comes to these augmented diminished keys, that eight note 1/1/2 stepper, I've had some fun with that one. We'll get to that one in Shambhala. We'll do that one early. We'll do that one sooner than later. I was gonna bounce back and forth between the two albums, but we'll still do that. We'll just stay on different steps for a little while and cover some of these extreme key formula songs. And again, this is a fun one. This Shambhala will be a fun one because I have very, very little positioning in that to where like you just don't get the use of 5 notes except with 4 chords. We're used to using 5 notes. I mean, we do that standard 5 application. We get 5 notes with all 7 of our chords. So it was definitely interesting playing with that. Oh, and just because, of course, I have to figure out how to include every alt there is. So yeah, Shambhala is one of those songs that utilizes the 8 note 1/1/2 stepper, but it also finds ways to either chromatically or through alterations apply every alt it possibly could apply, which is only 4 notes, but it was fun working them in. We'll get to that one. That one's a fun one. We'll explain a false moving key with that one. That one's a fun one. Okay, so with our normal modes, we got the Ionian, we got the Dorian, the Lydian, the Mixolydian, the Phrygian, the Aeolian, and the Locrian. As your 7 positions. Now, even with something like the 8 note 1/1/2 stepper, just get rid of the Phrygian position. Just do it with 6 modes, but you know what alt you have to add in, and then if one of those 5 positions works better for you than the other one, do it from that one every time and ignore the 8th note one. You know, just give it 7 positions that you feel comfortable with, and if you have to explain that to your pianist, I think they'll understand. If you have to explain that to the bassist, I think they'll understand. I think they'll look at you a little crazy that, you know, we're playing out of an 8th noter, but I'll show you what I worked out. You either like it or you won't. We'll get to it. But again, how to divide this up and how to key it and everything. Well, again, it would repeat every 3 positions first off, but also if you really want to break it down into actual 7 note positioning, I mean, that's what you would do. You would, 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 you would pick the one and treat the other one as 1/2 stepper, But again, it's every 3. It's every 3, it just repeats. But any other thing, any other time you see anything, I mean, look for the basic. What 7 notes make up a basic? This is the easiest way to explain it. Key. Then, what are my modes? And that'll give you all the different positioning to build your scales and to build your chords. It's getting used to, whenever you switch keys, it's getting used to those positionings and being able to work those new keys. Major is easy. We're all used to major. And then whenever you alt out of it, it's just a matter of getting used to that too. Or whenever you add the chromatics into it, it's just a matter of getting used to, okay, I do this every time. They show up here and I do it every time. You just get used to it. And once you see it enough, you get used to writing it too. Once you see it enough, you get used to writing with it too. And your writing's always evolving. Alright, now let's get into the standard 5. We might actually do modes in a different video. I've been talking this a lot, so we actually might run modes in a different video. But I do want to get into like standard 5 application, and we're going to call it quits for this one. But let's say with standard 5 application. Alright, you're going to have a key of C, and it's going to be running alongside a key of G. Those key of C notes are going to be in the key of C, but those key of G notes are going to be in the key of G. But that's going to be what makes your 5th notes for every 5th position. So, for example, your C is going to have the G5. D is going to have the A. E is going to have the B. F is going to have the C. G is going to have that D note right there. The A is going to have an E note right there. But where we get into the G chord taking over is in this 5th position where this F sharp note comes in. But I mean, otherwise we're going to have to diminish, we're going to have to augment, we're going to have to do something like a sus2 chord, we're going to have to do something different. So to make the key easy, we've got our B note showing up with an F sharp note. And a lot of times you're going to hear that as a B minor chord if it's playing full chords though. Again, the only time I'm changing notes out of the C key is only for that B minor chord on the 5 note, on that F sharp, pairing that B with that F sharp. Everything else, I mean, D minor chord is an F note. We're utilizing the notes from the key of C in both of our high end, which is what I'm going to call our melody, and our low end, which is what I'm going to call our bass or our root. But in that 5 position, that harmonic position, that's what I'm going to call that, we're just using a slightly altered key. We're using the G key, which only introduces a sharp in the for C, it would be the 4th position. For G, where the sharp shows up, it's the 7th position, going along with the B note, the 7th note in the key of C. So it's only in that position. So again, divide note, but or the F sharp note, but only with the B chord. So only is that 4th position of C, or really just key of G. Key of G, and it's the 7th position. Showing up with the 7th position. Just makes it so much easier. And again, standard 5 application. We're taking the 5 notes, we're moving it to the 1 position, but we're putting that into our 5th position chords, our 5th position of our chords. So in that case, it would be a 1 key, pull the 5 back, and pair it with that 1 key, but leave it its own key. So if C, G, it's always going to be one forward in the circle of 5ths. Or if you're in the circle of flats, let's say you're on E flat, well, one back in that case, one sharp. We're not going to continue going flat. We're going to go 1 sharp, which would be B flat. So we would pair E flat. We find that B flat note, which is going to be in the 5th position. We pull it back, and we just B flat key on top of it. And with the E flat, it would be the D note, and the A would be the exception. That E flat key would call for an A flat note, but once we got to that D positioning, we would use, because we don't want to diminish, we don't want to go to an A flat. Whenever we play with the D chord, we would go ahead and insert the A note in there. Give it to where we got our D chord back. Okay, for the next video, we're not even going to waste time. We're going to get straight into first doing a major key run of the modes, and then we're going to get into actually altering key formulas, and we're just going to do the video simply that. Anyway, we don't make a long one again. I love talking theory. If I could just do this and do this alone, but then we're not seeing the theory being applied. We're just talking it. So, yeah, we'll get back to what we were doing soon. I just want to make sure our terms are clear. All right, thank you as always. Keep on rocking.